Hey, I'm C.
And I'm Tori, and welcome back to season 2 of Get Shifty.
Yes, hello. Welcome back for season 2 of Get Shifty. We did not wait a whole year this time. Aren't you proud of us? We are later than what I said, but there's a lot that goes into that. So, we're here in less than a year, and I take that as I take that as a win.
We're back and ready to go. And just think about it. Like maybe we just, we were just planning. Not that everything was falling apart.
Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle there.
We just wanted to have a great season 2 for you guys.
It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. We're ready to come back and get started and bring y'all a really great season. We have a lot planned. We have some great guests lined up, which we're going to keep under wraps for now until those episodes come out. But we are so excited about everyone we've had the pleasure of speaking to so far and everyone that we still have left to talk to for this season.
I am so excited to, when we were talking about guests and we were getting ready those lineups, to see some of those names. Oh, you guys are not even ready yet.
Yeah, it was honestly just so amazing that we have so many incredible people who want to come on the show and want to work with us. And we are so excited for the incredible conversations that we get to have and that you all get to be a part of as well.
And we love, seeing everyone's feedback from the last episode. I know that was something that was really heartwarming for me to see everyone being so kind.
It was so nice to see such nice comments coming back. We were a bit nervous coming back since it had been so long. We weren't sure how it would be received, especially because we pretty much said nothing about it coming back. We just kind of dropped it out of nowhere at midnight one night in the summer. But yeah, it's been really nice. Thank you all so much for being patient with us, welcoming us back, and being excited for us to continue on this journey.
And speaking of responses, let's get to some of those responses you left on our question of the week last episode.
Our question of the week last episode was, what is one thing from the beginning of your journey that lives in your mind rent-free? And boy, did you guys have us cackling with some of those responses, bringing up some of the early 2020 misinformation on Shift Talk. Man, it really took us back. It was a nice laugh at some of the crazy Shift Talk nostalgia that we all have now.
Oh, yeah. C and I were sitting on the call 20 minutes before we were ready to film, going through and freaking cackling.
Yeah, speaking of one that... Speaking of one that just really had us going, starting us off very strong, believing the shifting police would come after me from Nat.
No, but honestly though, as someone who has a platform on Shift Talk, I'm scared of the shifting police.
Oh, come on, man. The shifting police was the craziest bullshit I've ever seen come across my For You page, man. The shifting police / Men in Black was the craziest bullshit I've ever seen, man. They were baby shifters having panic attacks thinking that these Men in Black ass dudes were gonna, jump through the multiverse to arrest them for shifting. And
No, but seriously though.
It's like I can't imagine being new to the community and that being one of the first things that you encounter and being so for real, because I remember when I was first joining the community, there was a lot of there was a lot of I saw things of people being oh, what happens to your body, of oh, you disappear, that kind of stuff.
Oh my god.
During our early days on Shift Talk, because it was brand new. So I can't those kind of things freaked me out in my early days. I can't imagine how much this must have freaked people out.
It still kind of freaks me out a little bit. I make one wrong move in one of my DRs in the freaking
Oh, the shifting police. There.
the shifting police, they're gonna take away my rights to shift. Like, what?
They're gonna. I can't even take it seriously.
Like, what? What do you mean?
I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. But yeah, that was so. Oh. Oh. The phenomenon of the first script and how god awful it is for every shifter. And this comes from at Nunya Beeswax 3953 here on YouTube.
First of all, I love the username.
I'm
Second
a
of
big fan
all,
as well. I'm a big fan.
Second of all, why did my first script? First of all, it was a scrapbook. Okay, like I just want to say that my first script was like a scrapbook. Okay, I have ADHD, so we're lucky that I even had the attention span to do that. And why did I describe myself as if I was a Wattpad character? Like, she had ocean blue eyes, long blonde hair. Like, excuse me.
You had blue orbs?
I did have blue orbs. I still have blue orbs, but like, why did I describe myself? Like, I gave myself like an outfit lookbook as well, as if I didn't script previously that I had like whatever I wanted kind of in my closet.
I remember my first, like, very first script that we never ever talk about, that we never ever talk about, and it was actually, I don't know if I've ever, I think I might have said this once on here before, but my first ever script for real was to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, Hogwarts came after that. The only reason I switched to Hogwarts, because, like, don't get me wrong, like, Hogwarts has been my fandom since I was a kid, but I was a slightly more of an ATLA person, so that was where I wanted to go first. But the entirety of all of my shifting stuff was oriented around Hogwarts, because that was, like, the big thing. We had Harry Potter TikTok and Draco Talk all happening at the same time. So I was like, fuck, it must be easier, since all of this motivation, all this stuff is going to be easier, since all of this stuff is in my head, for me to do Hogwarts. But my first script was to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that shit was written like a fucking fan fiction, like paragraphs upon paragraphs of, like, this is what's gonna happen when I wake up, and it was just like becoming a fanfic, a novel, because that's what I thought my first script had to be. That's how I understood scripting, based on what I was receiving off of TikTok at that time.
Yeah. And like really funny for me is that I shifted for Draco first. And then when I wrote my regular script, like essentially there was like I had one page, if that, like, it was just, and it was more stuff about me rather than, his whole life or whatever. And everyone was like, are you crazy? Apparently I was. Apparently I was crazy. I do not recommend that if you're shifting to Regulus Black, but at the same time, like, I realized that I had an easier time shifting to Regulus when I didn't have to read through a 17-page novel.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, on top of just not being able to think of anything else in relation to shifting other than Hogwarts, because shifting and Hogwarts were just so tied together at that point in time. It was just my script was so long, and, like, I felt like I needed to read through all of it and put it under my pillow and, like, remember all of it and do all of these things that were just completely unnecessary. And then when I actually did get to scripting my Hogwarts University DR, which was, I guess, at the end of August, beginning of September of 2020, was when I switched over to a minimal script, and it was just bullet points. It was like a page and a half, maybe.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I know I think you as well, it's like we don't even need a script. Like, it just kind of eventually comes naturally to you, where you're like, okay, these are things that have worked in previous DRs that I like to keep as like a safety blanket, but the rest of it, like, let's fuck around and find out.
Yeah, there gets a point where, like, the scripting is such a powerful tool for so many people, especially a lot of people with busy brains like myself, who need to organize things down on a page, and to see it in front of them, to really get out what they want. And that's how I definitely was at first. And it's also was a very big control thing for me because I just really needed to be as in control of this as possible. But so much of shifting is feeling like you're out of control and being okay with that. Knowing you're in control, but feeling like you're out of control and being okay with that, I would say. But yeah, when you get to a point where scripts, the physical scripts, don't matter because you know in your head where you want to go, the energy you want, what kind of just like how you want it to go. It's very hard to explain. I know for people who haven't shifted to like understand how you can just script mentally and have the intention because we often get this question of how do you set intention. It's just one of those things where when you get used to shifting, I guess it just becomes more natural to mentally script or just mentally know where you want to go.
You know, eventually over time, once you get that final shift done, eventually it all becomes a little bit easier.
Another comment that we got, this one was quite special to us. I am going to paraphrase here a little bit, but you can see the full comment right here. The thing that lives in my mind rent free from the beginning of my journey is this podcast. When I found these hour-long episodes, that really helped my brain say, okay, if they can talk about it this long and so easily, it must be real. And that comes from at Kitty Sweetums. First of all, just thank you so much for enjoying the podcast and watching these absurdly long episodes. And I'm so glad that they have been of help to you because that's the whole point of us doing this is to hopefully help some other people understand shifting more, feel more comfortable with it, and experience the incredible things that we have also experienced.
I know, like, I haven't been there for the full time on the podcast, but it's really nice to see that, like, us talking about our experiences and, you know, being able to just, like, C and I have these conversations anyways, and for you guys to be able to see them and join in with us and see that that gives you guys motivation is really like what keeps us going, you know, on all different levels, like on all of our platforms. And it warms my heart so much.
On that note as well, I just want to express my gratitude to all of you who do watch this and allow us the space to talk about our DRs and to the fact that you guys actually enjoy hearing about them is such a freeing feeling in a lot of ways because I know in the community, out or at least outside the community, it can feel very scary to try to share these other lives that we live and to have such a safe space here to talk about my other life where I don't feel judged and I feel comfortable sharing what I'm comfortable sharing with and to feel heard and supported in that is something I cannot express how grateful I am. So thank you so much for being here and thank you for your continued kindness.
I second that.
So let's get to this last one. This is from Spotify. They said, definitely putting my entire day on the shoulders of whether I've shifted or not. I could ruin my entire day just by waking up. Don't do that anymore, to say the least. From Soul on Spotify. And first of all, thank you for sharing. And second of all, I fully understand that feeling because that was also me the first 4 months of my shifting journey.
And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's easier said than done. Like, so my best friend is just learning how to shift. And she's also in the point to where, like, sometimes she'll be like, ugh, you know, like, I didn't shift, man. And I'm like, listen, okay, it will happen when it's supposed to happen. And if you ride your whole entire shifting journey on the failed attempts, you're less likely to, you know, shift faster. Like, think of every failed attempt as another step closer to your actual day of shifting. Like, you know, you got to think of it like the positive way. And I know sometimes that's extremely hard, but I mean, everyone has also been through that, so you're not alone in that as well, right?
It's very much a glass half full instead of glass half empty approach, in my opinion. And that doesn't mean that you have to feign positivity all the time, because you do need to express your emotions and not, repress those feelings when you are getting frustrated. Because I know a lot of people feel that, oh, I can't let myself get frustrated because then I won't shift. I need to be grateful. I need to. No, you are allowed to validate your feelings, to process that, to acknowledge them. The tricky part, and where a lot of people struggle, is that after you acknowledge them, you have to be able to let them go, and you have to be able to move forward from that. And that's where a lot of people get hung up, myself included. This is not just a shifting thing. This is something that applies to many aspects of life as well. So this is something I get hung up on quite frequently, but especially did with shifting. And it took me a long time. It took me honestly getting to my lowest in my shifting journey, which led to a very, very low point in my life, for me to have this aha realization of, you know what, I gotta release the white knuckling control that I want around shifting to allow this to happen, because I am obviously way too in my head trying to control this experience down to a T to even allow the possibility of it to happen outside of the experience that I'm expecting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, you know, every every attempt is once again like just a lesson, you know? And sometimes also too like sometimes taking a break is much needed and that's okay. And I know that's something that was talked about a lot on early shift talk is like if you take a break, you have to start over. Like no, you still have the same knowledge. Okay, you still have those previous attempts under your belt. Like it's okay to have frustrations, but also to like don't beat yourself up over the fact that you haven't shifted, you know? Because both of those things can, you know, hold back your journey.
Yeah, and I would say on that note of people feeling like taking a break makes them lose progress, I feel like a lot of people see shifting progress in a similar way that you will see those carnival games where you shoot water at the bullseye and it like raises up or like inflates the balloon or whatever, and you got to keep the same pressure in the right place to inflate it and pop the balloon and win, or raise the meter or whatever. But if you move your pressure or you stop or whatever, obviously the meter's going to drop. And I think a lot of people view shifting that way, and it's not. Once you have the knowledge of shifting, you are adding knowledge after that. Now, obviously, there is misinformation, and so that is something that we have to work to undo and rewire that knowledge into something that better benefits us. However, there is, in my opinion, there's no such thing as losing progress in your shifting journey, especially not from taking a break. A lot of times it is taking a break that can help you shift or be the reason that you shift. Reminder for everyone, I was on a break when I shifted. I was not actively trying to shift when I shifted. The only reason that I shifted is when I went to bed every night, I allowed myself the opportunity to shift. I mentally intended and said, I am allowing this possibility to happen. If I am in the right state of mind, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, and like um to go off of that, like I had just had kind of a shifting break, I guess you could say. Like I was at a in a shifting blockage. Um but every night I just kind of allowed myself as well the ability to shift. Also too, I allow myself the ability to dream, and I know that sounds silly, but like I allow myself the ability to dream and remember my dreams, and I find that that also helps with the whole ability to finally put yourself into your DR, just allowing yourself and seeing how that feels. And if you want to take that approach, you can start with dreaming and then work your way up. But yeah, every night I just went to bed allowing myself to shift, and I finally did after.
And I know it seems as though the phrases of like I allow myself to, or I give myself permission to shift, to dream, it sounds silly because of course we know that we already have the permission and the ability to do those things. However, sometimes it's just a mental trick that really helps for you to consciously acknowledge that you have permission, that you are allowing yourself to let go of the reins, to let go of control, and you are allowing this possibility to flow through you. Sometimes it's just a mental thing of just mentally checking that box and being consciously aware of it.
Yeah, and like also too, like going off of the fact that you said, you know, like losing that control, but it also gives you another sense of control of the ability to be like, oh yeah, I am the one who's in control a little bit. So when I say that I want to do this thing, I will do it, right?
It's a very hard thing to understand, but there is a release of control with shifting that gives you confidence and a sense of control and another facet of shifting. Like for me there, like I've said, there is this aha moment, this switch of a flip that happened where things completely shifted in my head when I hit that point of saying, oh my God, I'm stressing myself out. I'm making myself miserable, all because of shifting. I need to completely reevaluate how I look at this because this must not be right if I'm feeling like this. Let's move on to our main topic for this episode. So, Tori and I shift to a lot of the same DRs: Stardew, Hogwarts University, some famed CRDR type things where we've both been in each other's DRs. So, we wanted to take this episode to kind of go through those DRs, compare, contrast the similarities, the differences, and I know everyone hears about Hogwarts all the time. So, we want to take a large chunk of this episode to talk about our Stardew Valley DRs because that is something that we don't often see in the shifting community, and we are both obsessed with our Stardew Valley DRs. It is so slept on. I don't know why more people aren't shifting to Stardew Valley.
No, literally. Like if I could recommend a DR, it would definitely be my Stardew Valley DR because of the fact of how cozy it is, how not draining it is. A lot of shifters don't get to experience that because Hogwarts, every single time you shift, is absolutely draining, whether it's, any sort of schooling or if it's like drama central
Or Trauma Central.
or trauma central. The us central, but like my Stardew DR, I could shift, wake up, feel absolutely rejuvenated, and like shift again if I wanted to.
When I first started talking about my Stardew Valley DR, I referred to it as a cozy DR. And I still do because it's just one of those that just it's a warm and fuzzy DR. It is such a place to recharge. Like I very often shift to waiting rooms to take vacations or just to sleep and relax. And it's very nice to have like, it's a genuine like day-to-day life DR type thing. And it's, there's drama, there's shit that happens, but I'm never emotionally exhausted or it's not emotionally taxing. I don't come back here just like, like I don't want to shift for a while. Like I'm always ready. Like I can always shift to Stardew Valley.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, okay, I just want to say some of you guys know who I shift for, okay, but his name will not be mentioned. He will be referred to as Carboy. Just to get that out of the way because I feel like we got to do that. We got to get that out of the way. So if you're commenting anything about him, please refer to him as Carboy so everyone's on the same page. If you are
aware of who Tori is shifting for, please also refer to him as Carboy, just out of respect for her and him, please. Thank you.
That man loves to search his own name up, so we don't need him.
We don't need him stumbling upon
me.
This.
Yeah. Yeah. But Carboy difference from my Fame DR to my Stardew DR, like going off of the whole trauma and drama, is so different. like it is so different. Like sometimes I come back from my fame DR and I'm so drained because of everything that's happened, but just like our relationship as well in my Stardew DR is amazing. A breeze, if you will.
And it's so different. I mean, especially for you going from a fame DR to a, cozy DR like Stardew Valley, it's must be so different to see the change and how just like simple things changes in your life from being, someone famous, a celebrity, to, still being famous in some sort of fashion, but enjoying like a simple life out in a different environment, not surrounded by, the influence and the craziness of celebrity life in the same way, and how just that minor detailed difference can just change it from being emotionally exhausting to emotionally refreshing.
Yeah, and like I really want to kind of touch on that a little bit. Like, in my fame DR, we're living in LA. We are surrounded by influencers. And, even you in my fame DR is also famous. Like every single one of my friends have some sort of platform and eyes are always constantly on us. And like in my Stardew DR, we once had a platform, but now have decided to step away from our platform, and we still have like, I guess, quote unquote, like a fan base, but it's more of like they appreciate the content that they get when they get it rather than, expecting it from us all the time. Because that was a big issue that plays into Carboys and I's relationship in my fame DR, is the fact that we have eyes on us all of the time. All of the time. And in our Stardew DR, we just upload when we want to upload. It's a little tiny bit of extra income, but it's not anything crazy like previous.
And I relate to that on a similar sense too, from going and living my crazy ass life with George and Theo in my Hogwarts University DR, where it's similar to Tori. Eyes are always on us in a much different way, in a much different way. But the media is still on our ass all the time. It's still very much of like being on your game if you are anywhere near the public eye, and you're outside the comfort of your own home, and to be in Stardew Valley and no one gives a fuck about who you are, and you're just, part of the community. Can you pull your weight? Then they'll like you.
It was really fresh to like come to somewhere where, not everyone was expecting something from us, like, materialistic wise. And like just hearing about like you, George, and Theo in your Hogwarts DR, and hearing it, hearing you guys from your Stardew DR and my Stardew DR, like seeing it seems like completely different worlds.
It's nice to just have the freedom to just be and exist comfortably and let your parasympathetic nervous system rest and come out of fight or flight mode and just chill.
To go on for like there are like difficulties in a Stardew DR.
Pierre.
Pierre. Mayor Lewis.
Pierre.
The ability that Robin is taken.
That is so real. Robin is such a fucking MILF. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Guys. Shift to Stardew.
Listen. I'm not trying to objectify. But that ass.
You and I can't wait for you to watch this back, because what I just did.
But that ass.
No, really though. And like she is, if you can see it from the front, wait till you see it from the back. Like, are you?
I'm dying.
No, but it's so true.
Like when you can see it from the front,
Wait until you see that from the back.
Oh my god.
She's
gorgeous.
So she's gorgeous.
And she's
gorgeous.
so nice. She's so nice. She's so willing to help. I mean, she knows her worth and she's not cheap. Like, her labor's not cheap, but she's willing to help out.
Yeah, and like also too though, how is Sebastian her child?
I ask myself this question every day. How is Sebastian her and Demetrius's child? That's what I want to know because he just, it's not even a looks thing. It is just his personality is so different from everyone. Like, I get, yeah, he's the emo one. I get it. He's got depression. I know. We've talked about it. But he's just his personality is, it's like, I don't even understand how he doesn't share any similar traits, nothing to Maru, to Robin, to Demetrius, to nobody.
Sebastian is Sebastian. And you know, it's just I can't see it. And I have asked him and he just laughed. But, how are you related to them?
So, in talking about our Stardew Valley DRs, let's just like take it back to the beginning. Tori, how did you get out to Stardew Valley? How did you acquire the farm? Did you follow the game storyline, or what was your deal?
Yeah, so sort of. I've sort of followed the game storyline. The only thing is that my grandparents did not die. They were just unable to take care of the farm anymore. So me and Carboy um, decided that we were going to go out there. His only condition was that he had a skateboard ramp built for him or a place that he could skate. Um, and you had decided, I brought it up to you and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much work. And you decided, like, me, George, and Theo, we're on the way. Because previously, before I started shifting there, it was a conversation we had had. Because we knew that I was in inheritance to the farm. So we had made a pact that we were going to do it together. And what about you? I want to hear.
For me, Stardew Valley DR came about, what, 3 months after my grandfather actually did die. So, perfect timing for it, honestly. I'm sorry. This is how I cope. This is how I cope with things. I'm sorry. This is how I cope with things. But yeah, so it was just like my grandmother was still alive, but my she couldn't take care of the farm. Similar story. She couldn't take care of the farm. She had moved back to the old house, which is the current house that she lives in, and yeah, it's we moved to the farm to take care of it. I think we talked about this before, but my Stardew Valley DR takes place at a different time than yours.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, yours is in the, is it in the present or is it in 2021? I can't remember.
2020. We're in going into summer of 2020.
May I ask about the pandemic?
It doesn't exist. I make sure that the pandemic doesn't exist in any of my DRs.
Fair enough.
Just because, one, I don't want to be stuck in a house with Carboy for
That long.
Yeah, we'd probably
Kill each other.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Um he would say something stupid one day and it would just be the end.
Next thing you know, I'm going to get you guys up for chores in the morning, and this we don't even have police in the town. What do we do?
You can't do anything. You would help me hide the body.
What if you were dead? What if y'all did it what? Anyways,
I would never do that to him, by the way. But I really like, and just the ability to just go out and do whatever, like, that's more fun anyways. And I have somehow, and this was against my will, my chronic illnesses have made it into my DRs. And so there are times where I just want to lay in bed and stay. And, so why need the pandemic when you have chronic illness?
yeah. So for me, it's like what, 2006 or 2007 now. Now it's 2007, but it was 2006 when I had first started shifting there, which I don't know if that's when the game took takes place, but for me it is the, early to mid 2000s era, and we don't have iPhones, we have Blackberries.
Which is so crazy, the technology difference. Like, I was able, and we'll get into this, but on a day that we had, I was able to look back at videos and like see things. And in your DR, it's just pretty much word of mouth what happens if you black out.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, too, like, I think what it's like I have a BlackBerry and Carboy has a BlackBerry and you have a BlackBerry, but George and Theo they have flip phones still. I have a flip phone laying around in the house still that I'll sometimes just carry out with me when I don't want to carry the BlackBerry on me because it feels weird in my pocket, especially because it's still low rise pants season.
Oh my
So
God. Thank God.
still low rise jeans season. So the BlackBerry feels weird, and I'd much rather have the flip phone clipped in my pocket. It's so powerful to uh, calling like George or someone off the flip phone and just being like flipping it close. But it's like I got that experience like in my own childhood, anyways. It's just interesting to experience it like as an adult in the same time period that I was experiencing it as a child slash teenager.
Yeah, and like, you know, I hope in your DR I do be leaving the house looking like Christina Aguilera. If I'm in those rise jeans, it better be a Christina Aguilera motive.
Tori's definitely the bad bitch of the friendship. I'm just kind of here. Um, I'm just kind of here, but we still tear it up at the saloon. Do not be worried. We still tear it up at the saloon, and Gus loves our business.
Oh my God. It's like an every Friday because there's nothing else to do. I actually, hold on, I have a question.
Only every Friday for you? It's every day for us.
Every Friday and Saturday mostly. I mean, we'll go and hang out, but
every day almost for us.
I love that for us. Do I black out extremely in your DR?
Only like
Once a week.
I was gonna say twice a month. Once a week, maybe.
Okay, at least I'm similar in both of our DRs.
Yeah, and then there's me, the tank.
You guys can hold your liquor. I don't know what it is.
I mean, like, here's the funny thing too, is like I'm still a tank in this DR, and I still like internally scripted that I was gonna have a better tolerance than I do in this reality, because for those who are unaware, they really do call me the tank in this reality, and it is a feat of wild nature, because any substance, you name it, it's gonna take a lethal amount for me to feel anything.
In my CR, like I can hold it somewhat, I guess. I don't know. You've had some pretty amazing drunk calls from me. So, but like I'm not blacking out all the time. I don't know what it is about the saloon, but I just black out. I black out.
Emily makes a good drink. Gus is Gus is heavy-handed when he makes a drink. He's heavy-handed when he makes a drink. So like it won't taste as good as Emily's, but it'll sure as hell put you on your fucking ass.
Yeah, I know those double vodka crayons definitely be hitting like freaking 5 shots of vodka.
I'm sorry, I'm judging you for the vodka cran.
I love vodka crayons.
Just give me a gin and soda, honestly.
A gin and soda?
Yeah. Or straight gin. I'll do straight gin as well.
On my birthday in my starter DR, we were going absolutely nuts for tequila shots.
Yeah, Tori, let's actually talk about your birthday in your Stardew DR, because I seem to recall that being a very special day for more than one reason. So if you feel comfortable to elaborate, I'm sure our audience would love to know about this.
Absolutely. I would love to elaborate for you.
Not the cloud goggles! Not the cloud glasses!
Hold on, let me fix my glasses for this.
glasses you were wearing that night in your DR?
Heck yeah, it was. We were going crazy. Yeah, no, we passed those classes around. But I'm actually going to take it a couple days prior to my birthday, when I caught suspicion that things were brewing. So a couple nights before my birthday, me and Carboy were laying in bed and we like got on the topic of engagement rings. And we were joking around and I was like, oh, you better not buy me a diamond because I am a very non-traditional engagement ring girly. Even with my like Regulus engagement ring, like it was rose gold and then my wedding band had an emerald on it.
Yeah, mine's not traditional either in my Hogwarts Uni DR.
And he was like, don't worry, like I know you, trust me. So my little brain was a turning, and C and I were sitting down making breakfast. No, we had just finished breakfast, and the boys had gone, and they were going to go do their chores, and it was just C and I, and we were talking about planning my birthday. And C was extremely like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, and also too, we're gonna take you to get your nails done. And I was like, see, like, we work on a farm. Like, we live on a farm. We work on a farm. Like, I'm not getting my nails done.
We're getting your nails done.
You were so persistent. You were like, no, you're getting your nails done. Right? And I was like, oh, you bitch. Have you seen the ring? And you got up and you were like, I don't know what you're talking about. And just ran away from me. Just ran away from me.
Hold on, I'll reenact it for the audience right now.
Yeah, please.
Ask me the question again.
Have you seen the ring?
I don't know what you're talking about. That's probably what it looked like.
No, for sure. For sure. And like, so I was like, oh, I know what's happening, you know? And everyone was quite secretive. I would walk into the room and everyone was like whispering. And so come to my birthday, Carboy let me drive the fancy car, okay? And that doesn't happen often. That is his pride, his joy, his baby.
No, please tell the audience what it is he normally lets you drive that he quote unquote does not give a shit about.
The BMW.
Does not give a shit about a BMW.
So he let us go out in the nice car. And we were ripping it around town. You know, C was very like, okay, we have to do this. And some points they were extremely lenient on like, oh yeah, like we can take our time, you know, we can hang out. And then at some points they were like, no, like we gotta go.
We were in Zuzu City for this, right?
Yeah, we were walking around looking at all the shops and everything. We went out for lunch. Well, brunch, really. And we were like trying to kill time, and I could tell because you just kept like checking your phone. You were like,
I can't believe that version of me was so fucking obvious about this. I would have thought I would have done better. Shame on me in other reality.
See, but the thing is that I knew what was happening, so I was able to pick up on cues because of the fact of like I knew what was happening. I did not expect what, you know, the whole scene. I just knew what was happening. And so we come back and the farm was absolutely decorated, like full blown decorated in fairy lights and like those, you know, those little lantern lights, the little light bulb ones. So those were strung out and down, and if you take a path down from the farm, you get to like this little like forest meadow area, and in the middle there's a huge willow. And as we're walking down, some of our best friends and my CR best friend was there, and I remember seeing Brittany, who is my CR best friend, and being like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, hello? And we saw our friends, and C had left me because they walked down with me and had left me, and I saw Carboy there with like a little blanket underneath the willow, and I instantly started sobbing. And he calmed me down, and then he proposed, and then I started sobbing again, and then I got mad at I got mad at him because he ruined my makeup. And then we went to the saloon and we partied it up.
It was a wild night, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, like at 12, we got so obliterated that at 12 o'clock I was saying to everyone, I'm going home. Like, this is it. You know, I can't do this anymore. And C and Brittany had decided, no, we know how to bring her back to life. Okay? Somebody throw on some ABBA.
Give me a man after midnight.
They decided to play that and Dancing Queen. And oh my God, did I come back to life. And we left the bar at 4 o'clock. I was planning on going home at 12, and we were there till 4. And then we walked home, and I don't remember much. I had seen the videos in my previous shift of me laying on the ground saying that I'm not coming back inside. And it was just a wild night.
First of all, congratulations. I've told you congratulations many a times, but I'm sure our audience is also wishing you a congratulations as well.
Thank you.
And secondly, not to make this about me, but can you please tell them the Theo thing that you told me?
How descriptive can I be with this?
You know what? I'll bleep out what I gotta bleep out.
Okay. All right. So we're standing outside, okay, because the boys were having a smoke break from the bar. And C was out there with me, Carboy, Theo. I think that's all that was out there. Oh, and Brittany was out there with us too. And Theo had a J. Can I say a J?
Yeah, you can say a J. You can say what it is.
Okay. Yeah. And he was smoking it. And he did this little thing where he flicked it. Like, just the way he flicked it was like, he grabs C, like wraps his arm around C's neck and goes, come on, let's go. And freaking pulls them inside of the bar. C's face just goes, and I was just like, you're joking.
Didn't he blow the smoke in my face?
Oh, yeah! I completely forgot about that part. Yes, because that's why you were like,
Yeah, gobsmacked. Let me tell you. And here's the thing about the reason I wanted you to mention that is like the crazy thing and the similarity there. And like Tori wasn't previously aware of this. Tori didn't know the story of how Theo and I like first got together in my Hogwarts University DR back in my 3rd year when we like first really like got to talking up at a Hufflepuff party. And one of the things that I did to push his buttons and get on his nerves was we were smoking a J together. We were smoking a joint together. I don't know why I called it a J. I'm an adult. We were smoking a joint together, and I kept calling him Theodore, and he had told me he didn't want to be called Theodore, but I thought he was just like messing around, and I thought it'd be funny. Anyways, so while doing that, I had blown smoke in his face, and that had really ticked him off. So ever since then, he will do it back to me, just reminiscent of the first night, just to tick me off. And so the fact that happened there, I was like, what the fuck? And I can't escape this in any reality. Are you kidding me?
it's crazy. It's crazy. I can't believe I forgot that part. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, that's the main reason I'm getting you to tell them the story, and you didn't even say it.
That whole night is a blur. I'm still trying to process the videos I had seen.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like one of those, like, Project X type of like Pursuit of Happiness song plays as the montage of all the like crazy Snapchat videos plays.
See, you were dancing on a table.
I don't doubt it.
Also, too, funny you bring up Pursuit of Happiness because in every single one of my DRs, that is C's and I's song. Like, we could be literally on opposite sides of the saloon from each other, and someone has the aux and plays Pursuit of Happiness, and or if we're in a bar, like a nightclub, okay, we will run across to try and find each other because that is our fucking song.
This is the first time I'm hearing this information, so excuse
Really?
my face. You've never told me this before.
Oh my god, I swore I did.
You've never told me that that's our song.
Every single time I listen to it, I instantly think of you just because of the fact of, like, even in my Fame DR, any single time that song, we were at a rave. See, we were at a rave and we had gotten separated. I went to go get a beer and Pursuit of Happiness came on. I got out of line to go and find you.
No, it's funny you say that because that is also a song that we rage to in my DRs that you are in. So that's my face right now.
Oh my fucking god.
Well, welcome to Get Shifty, where you're watching a live reaction to us finding similarities we didn't previously know of.
Ew, ew, ew.
I'm
ew.
uncomfortable. I'm a little uncomfortable. Shifting kind of is. I have the ick a little bit.
Shifting is so weird sometimes.
In line with similarities, now that we're mildly uncomfortable. In the theme of similarities and I guess differences too, let's touch on our Hogwarts University DRs because we have gone through many similarities and differences with that one. So let's go somewhere familiar with ones we know of.
Definitely, food.
The food being fucking gas. The potatoes.
Oh my god. The little round potatoes?
Yes, the mini golden potatoes. Yes.
Why do they slap so hard?
And they're always just like the way that they're oven roasted, like they're like boiled first and then oven roasted to get crispy, and then they have like the olive oil with the sea salt, some parsley and some thyme, and it's in the garlic. Oh my god.
And like, okay, I don't like garlic. I'm not a garlic person, but those freaking potatoes.
Like I am a garlic person, so I'm certain that the cuisine in my DR probably steps up the garlic levels just a little bit, but still, it is so expertly blended, especially like occasionally with the mashed potatoes that they'll do.
Yes, and that's another thing. Like, I don't like mashed potatoes, but I will eat Hogwarts mashed potatoes. Like that,
I could eat a whole meal of just potatoes. Like everything else is good, but I could eat a whole meal of just mashed potatoes.
Their pumpkin soup too. Like when they make it like the first day of fall, like fall is coming when Hogwarts starts making pumpkin soup.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I'm not like huge on the I like their pumpkin stuff. I'm not like huge. I don't hate their pumpkin soup. I just like some of their other soups better. I like beef stew. Their beef stew's my favorite.
Oh.
I've spent so much time trying to recreate it here. Same with the smashed potatoes. I've never been able to perfectly recreate the smashed potatoes because like I can get the flavor almost right, but I can't get the crispiness right. So I don't know if it's because I'm lacking like magic to perfectly evenly make it happen, or if it's just my oven sucks.
I made so they'll do pumpkin soup as well as butternut squash soup, and I am a butternut squash soup. Yeah. And I have gotten pretty close to the spice blend. Pretty close. I'm like, oh, I think I need to add like carrots to it.
It's just hard too because sometimes they'll be adding magical herbs to it to increase the flavor. So obviously there's certain flavors we will never get, and because we will never get to that level of purity or the added, magic in the food.
Yeah. Yeah. Also too, like, to talk about a difference as well is like the parties. I know you and I have touched on the fact of like um your parties are held somewhere. Mine are like almost always in either the Slytherin dungeon or the room of requirement.
Yeah, so ours are could be in any of the common rooms. We have had like in seventh year only, really, but in seventh year we had like I think one or two get together. I wouldn't even call them parties, more kickbacks in the room of requirement. And then we have before done parties out in the Forbidden Forest. That was a trip.
Oh my gosh, yeah, cuz we used to have fires and stuff like that in the Forbidden Forest.
We did too. I mean, we wouldn't do like me and my friend group would do fires out in the Forbidden Forest and just put up protective wards and enchantments to keep the area safe. But yeah,
Golden Trio, I wasn't there for long. The most traumatic thing I had happen to me was I was up on a broom and I had like fallen off. Um, and now I'm scared of flying.
that's fair. The first time that I tried to take off the ground when I went flying for the first time, and it was George and Fred trying to train me my first week at Hogwarts. And look, the thing I'll give them credit. They weren't even trying to fuck with me. Like they weren't trying to make me fail. They were genuinely trying to help me get my bearings. And again, I scripted that I would be a gifted Quidditch player, but there's still a learning curve to getting comfortable on a broom. Um, and when I first did the kick off the ground, I kicked off and so I hovered, but the problem is I leaned forward. And so as I was leaning forward, I wasn't leaning forward enough where I was tipping the broom down. I was leaning like forward enough where it was making the broom go forward. But my feet were not secured behind me yet. And so my balance just went and I just the broom zoomed out from under me and I went straight on my back, wind knocked out of me, and they were like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And literally the only noise I could get out was like
Oh.
like it was just
Oh.
that was it. That was it. It was just I could not get anything else out. I'm a great flyer now, but
See, I've always dated a Quidditch player, never played Quidditch. And like that's not something that's always interested me anyways. So,
I'm a
you
great
know,
chaser. I love being a chaser. If my life was simple, maybe I would have gone for pro Quidditch, but my life is not simple. So no.
we had like cheerleading kind of. So, I was there kicking it with my little pom-poms. Um my green and gold pom-poms. But yeah, no, you will never catch me on a broom.
Yeah, meanwhile, I love Quidditch. I've won the House Cup a couple times now.
Actually, wait, hold on. Speaking of green, one similarity that kind of blew both of our socks off
The
was the
fabric.
couches. Yeah.
Yes, the fabric of the couches in the common rooms, specifically Slytherin. Because for me and my DR, Hufflepuff's is kind of different. But well, Hufflepuff has one or two couches that are similar, but they have a lot of other couches that are not in the same theme. Meanwhile, in other common rooms, they are all of the same look and fabric and feel, but it's like this suede velvet that it's somewhere in between there. It's not like fully velvet, it's not fully suede, somewhere in between there, and it's like the house color. So it's a very nice emerald, like deep green for Slytherin. It's a nice, you know, crimson garnet, whatever for Gryffindor, and so on and so forth.
And like actually speaking of that couches and how we got onto the topic of realizing that our couches were the same was I was talking about the fact that that's what grounded me into shifting. It made me realize I was shifting was that I could feel the fibers of the couch and like freaked the fuck out.
And you know when you move your hand back and forth on either suede or velvet and you see the direction of the fabric change and it changes the color of it and that sensation on your hand, that is a very, very great grounding method. Just in general, sidebar here, a great grounding method, both for shifting or if you are having an anxiety or a panic attack, is texture. finding something with texture. Maybe that is what you're wearing on your pants. You have jeans that just have like some nice texture to them. Maybe you can sit on the ground and you can touch the carpet and you can rub your hands back and forth, and that's going to help you get into your body and become more present. So that's good both for shifting and just in your day-to-day life when you find yourself getting overwhelmed and kind of getting out of your body.
Yes, no, for sure. And like, um, you know, I always use grounding methods for when I shift somewhere to the first time. Shift to a new DR for the first time. Hello, English. Hard. But yeah, no, I always use that as a technique. So
I think also we were talking too about just like the layout of the Slytherin common room, because you have told me a story about you and Draco that we're not going to repeat here on this podcast, but you were describing the common room in some places you hid afterwards and which direction you went afterwards. And so we went and got into a conversation about like even like how the difference on the entryway into the common room. What's yours like again?
so we have you enter into the Slytherin common room, and it is like kind of like a, what is the word I'm looking for? Hello? You you walk up to a balcony and you look down over, and there are like 5 or 6 steps that you can go down to like a sunken, almost like a sunken living room is what it looks like. A loft, is that the word I'm looking for? Maybe it's like a loft. I don't know. I forget what word I'm trying to describe. But then you go down into like a sunken living room, and there's fireplaces on one side, and the other side has library. Um, and then the window into the lake is right down the middle. And then there's couches on both sides, depending on what side you want to sit on. Um, and there's like 3 couches that face the fireplace, and then there's like a little sitting area where there's 4 couches and like a couple chairs and stuff like that. That area is a little bit bigger. But the the head boy so the head boy and head girl room are actually in that like little loft area when you first walk into the dungeon. Um, and it's really cool because Regulus and I were head boy and head girl. And a fun little fact is that there's actually like a little common room in the middle of the head boy and head girl room, but it locks at a certain time. So you guys can't like go into each other's rooms or whatever.
And then for me, like specific, since we're talking about the Slytherin common room specifically, like the way to get down to it, there was just this random archway in the stone down in the dungeons, something you would just like walk past normally, and it similar to platform 9 3/4, you would have to walk through it, but you have to say the password, and it changed very frequently. So some of the joy that Slytherins got out of their common room entrance was anyone who didn't know the password would confidently walk straight into the wall. You had to confidently walk through the wall. So if you get it wrong and you didn't know it changed, you're gonna walk straight into the wall. And that is just the simple joys in life at Hogwarts University. But then you would walk down this massive staircase, a grand staircase of sorts, down into the actual common room, the living area, and it's massive high vaulted ceilings. Like when I say high vaulted ceilings, I'm talking like these things are at least 100 feet up, like very, very high ceilings. And then it's a massive open common room with 2 fireplaces on each side. When you first get down off the steps, you look to your left, look to your right. There's entryways to some dorms. Those dorms actually circle the entire dungeon, there's an inner circle that goes around the inner hallway of the dungeon, and then there's an outer circle that goes on the outer way. So it depended on which one, but typically the upperclassmen or the prefects would get in that inner circle because it's easier access to come back out. But the outer circle was the further back towards the end of that room because there was a big archway that would lead into a further section of the common room that would be a library study area. That was where you had three big glass windows that showed you into the lake. Terrifying. And then immediately when you come off the stairs and you're walking down into the common room off to the right, there's another study alcove area that for parties was where the drink table would be set up and all of that stuff. So
Did I ever tell you about the time I saw the giant squid?
no, this is I don't know if a lot of people know this, but squids are like my special interest and have been since I was 4 years old. I love squids and I'm obsessed with the Hogwarts squid. I love the Hogwarts squid. We are friends.
He is a little sus to me. But yeah, I had seen the giant squid. The first time I was actually Regulus and I were fighting. And we were kind of fighting in the common room, and lo and behold, Regulus was back on to the window, so he didn't see what I saw, but this squid just came and just grazed up like this, and like just right up against the glass, and I almost shit my pants. I wasn't expecting it. Like,
Immediately fight over.
I cried, and he was like, what the fuck? But he only saw like the ending little pieces of his little legs.
Of his little tentacles. They're not little, they're huge.
Yeah, but he only saw like the very tip of them. So he had known at that point what had happened. But I cried.
I don't think people comprehend just how big the giant squid is because, like, yeah, we have Architeuthis, which is the, giant squid that we know, and they can get, like, the size of school buses and shit like that. And then I don't know if anyone's seen the colossal squid, but the giant squid, think of, like, how wide the colossal squid is and then give it the length of a giant squid and maybe more, and you're almost on par with the giant squid at Hogwarts.
Yeah, like Buddy's a big boy. Like he can take up the whole window.
Sometimes I still believe the rumors that it's Godric. Sometimes the rumors still get to me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, do you not have those rumors?
No.
Oh my god, the long-standing rumor forever has been, because, like, no one actually, like, there was only word that traveled that Godric Gryffindor had passed, but no one actually witnessed his passing. No one could confirm. There was no funeral, there was no burial. Like, there was people who were, like, commemorating him, and there were communities that were, like, celebrating him, Hogwarts especially, obviously, but there was no official nothing, no body, no, like, not that it's, like, a true crime thing, but there was nothing that was, like, witness for that. So the rumor long has been that he didn't actually die, and that he was, like, a secret animagus, and then the rumor at Hogwarts became, because the squid didn't show up until after Godric had gone. So apparently the timeline was, like, very close, where the squid showed up, like, very soon after Godric Gryffindor had supposedly passed, so the rumor had long been that the squid is Godric Gryffindor.
Oh my fucking god.
If it's true, it would make Godric Gryffindor the largest animagus ever known.
It's wizards, Harry.
So let's get to our question of the week for you all. Remember, if you reply to this on YouTube or Spotify, your comment could be featured in the next episode. Our question of the week this week is, what is an obscure DR that you want to shift to? By an obscure DR, I just mean a DR that you haven't seen many people say that they're shifting to.
Oh my god, I'm so curious. I mean, for us, it's Stardew, so
Yeah, like Stardew is somewhat of an obscure DR. There's not many people who talk about shifting to Stardew. So, what is your equivalent? Or I know, for me, like way back in the day, at the beginning of Shift Talk, ATLA was a bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender was a bit of an obscure DR because there wasn't that much stuff, many Avatar: The Last Airbender shifters. Now there's way more of a community for it. So, what are the DRs that you are interested in going to that you haven't seen a lot of people say that they also want to go to?
I'm so excited to read these comments.
Yeah, I don't think you guys understand. We love reading your comments and we'll send comments to each other and just like giggle about them and just like we love hearing from you guys. So thank you so much for being so active with our posts. We really appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you so much for letting us ramble.
Yes, we can certainly ramble, especially when it comes to similarities, differences, or just the minor details of RTRs, because it's very interesting, especially when you shift to the same place to see how similar, but also just how vastly different it can be. And if there's any more minor details that you guys would like to hear about any of our DERs, feel free to comment and ask about them, and we could talk about them in later episodes. We'll probably end up doing another episode like this where we just like go through some stuff in our DRs. So anything that you guys would like explained from our DRs, please let us know. We would love to let you guys in on all of those details.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for yet another episode, and we should be back next week for yet another one. So,
Yes, and we love you so much.
we love you guys like crazy. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you very soon.
Bye.
Go Shift!
Go Shift.